Let me just, for fairness sake, please.
Let me just follow up on this point. So the president said that any Americans who want to leave, they just have to show their passport, I presume, at the checkpoints that are controlled by Taliban. So does this apply to the SIVs, that they go to the same checkpoint and say, please allow us, we're going to the airport because we work with the Americans, considering that the reports that actually Taliban is compiling a list of everybody who worked with the U.S. Army. Does this make sense to you, that the Taliban will allow them safely to exit and go to the airport?
What it is, it's something that is of profound importance to us. Whether or not it makes sense to the Taliban, we have him, and they say that they get it. They say that they will allow safe passage to anyone who wishes to reach the airport. Again, these are the words of the Taliban. We take them for what they are, but we are going together with our international partners to do everything we can to see to it that they make good on their word, and at the same time that they understand the consequences of not doing so. Now, of course, American citizens do have, in many cases, a blue passport, and that may get back to the point that we were discussing earlier, namely that when it comes to those firsthand accounts, the number of reports we have heard directly from Americans about an inability or a risk they faced in transiting to the airport, those have been relatively small. We've seen the reports, you all have seen the reports of Afghans who have been harassed, who may not have been allowed safe passage. I can tell you that we are providing very specific, precise instructions to everyone we are in a position to relocate. That includes American citizens, that includes our locally employed staff, that includes third country nationals, that includes Afghans at risk, and within that category, the special immigrant visa holders or special immigrant visa applicants. To all of these individuals, whether or not they have a blue passport, we are providing them with an official document that it is our expectation will facilitate their safe passage to the airport. This is something, again, that we take extraordinarily seriously. Our international partners on the ground take it extraordinarily seriously for their nationals, for those who have worked alongside them in Afghanistan. And we are saying this with one voice to the Taliban and making the point in unison, in a chorus, that there will be accountability should the Taliban not live up to this commitment. Yes?
What's the punishment if the Taliban doesn't meet its commitment? What's the punishment?
So part of this is where the international community will stand as a large bloc, and we're starting to see the international community signal very clearly that we are going to speak and we are going to act as a bloc when it comes to the Taliban. Over the course of the past week, there have been any number of multilateral and international gatherings where this same message has rung true. Just this morning, and I mentioned this in the topper, the Secretary took part in a meeting of the NATO foreign ministers on Afghanistan. The foreign minister said, any future Afghan government must adhere to Afghanistan's international obligations, safeguard the human rights of its people, and uphold the rule of law and allow unhindered humanitarian access. The same message came out of the G7 yesterday. The same message was put forward by some 112 countries earlier this week. The same message was put forward by the United States, our EU allies and partners, and a number of other countries in the region, the Indo-Pacific, and well beyond. This is, I suspect, the same message that we'll hear on Monday when President Biden meets with his G7 counterparts, when they meet virtually to discuss this. This is about whether any future government in Afghanistan will accrue what we know, and almost certainly they know, they need in order to run a country effectively.
We've already seen the IMF hold off on sending COVID-related funding to Afghanistan because it says they don't know who's in charge. Is the international community similarly prepared to impose financial sanctions travel bans, asset seizures, essentially isolate the Taliban because it does appear they're going to be the ones in charge. Is that the kind of ramification the Taliban is running the risk of incurring?
Absolutely. We have made that very clear. Right now, we are undertaking our assistance. Of course, we are not going to provide assistance to any government, to any force that doesn't uphold those basic norms, those basic obligations to their people and within the international community. We have been clear about this. There are dozens of statements from our counterparts around the world who've been clear about this. I could run through the list, but the one that, and I see some head shaking, so I won't. But you have heard from some of our counterparts that, it's a quote, not a single cent not another cent will go to a future government of Afghanistan that doesn't uphold these basic rights, that doesn't protect all of its people. That includes women, girls, minorities. This is something that the United States is speaking very clearly about. We are watching very closely, but perhaps even more importantly, we are doing that in conjunction, in cooperation with our allies and partners. And you've heard us say that in any number of multilateral contexts over the past few days, and we'll continue to do that.
What
Yes.
about putting it on the FTO list?
I'm sorry?
What about putting it on the FTO
Look,
list?
we have a number of tools at our disposal. The Taliban right now is a specially designated global terrorist group. They're on the SDGT designation list. That is one tool. There is, it's both a stick and it's both a carrot, a potential inducement to induce the Taliban to uphold those basic international norms, the basic rights of its people. But the FTO list, other sanctions, that's one single tool. The United States has many different tools. Acting together with the international community, with the UN, we'll have a number of different tools. Yes.
Sorry, there was a report just now that the defense secretary told congressional leaders that Americans were beaten there. So can you confirm that first off? And this is the first indication of what yet to come by the Taliban.
Again, every single report, whether it is an American citizen, and we are in direct contact with American citizens, we take those extraordinarily seriously, or the reports we're seeing about at-risk Afghans who may be impeded. We take those extraordinarily seriously. It's difficult for us to speak to reports that are anecdotal, that may be on social media. The reports we can speak to are those.
The defense secretary told congressional leaders, according to Politics Just Now.
The reports we can speak to are those reports that we have heard firsthand, because we are in regular, constant communication with American citizens on the ground, providing them guidance, providing them instructions. So oftentimes we do know the most about what American citizens are faring, but I'm just not in a position to confirm specific reports from here.